Do you have a van or looking for how-to instructions on installing a Thule motorized step? If that's you, then please watch this video where I'll explain the mounting options on a 159-inch wheelbase ProMaster, the tools needed for the project, and tips on making this an easier install. I'm Ray, and you're watching the Corn Dog Caravan channel. My wife Chris and I decided there's more to life than working and doing house projects. So we sold everything we own, built out a Ram ProMaster we call Otis, because others think it's stupid, and are traveling full-time, seeing friends, family, and exploring the beautiful country around us, along with our 2 Boston Terriers. Okay, so before we begin the project, I'm going to make sure I've got all of my pieces that come with the installation kit for the Ducato V16 powered step. Ducato is also the same as a ProMaster. So you've got these 2 nuts here, sort of like rib nuts, but they have the threaded nut down inside. These are going to slip up into the A and C location that I pointed out earlier. These are going to just kind of push up and clip in, and then these are going to be secured by these 2 bolts here. We'll use the 2 washers and the 2 star nuts that you see here. We've got the brackets here for the front of the mounting system. There's the power step control step button. Not sure if I'll be using that because I did get the control module with the as an extra item. So when the door opens, the step should come out automatically. So I'll install that once I have my house batteries in place. To support the mounting bracket rail that the step will actually bolt into towards the center of the van, we're going to use mounting holes A and C, which we showed under the van a little bit ago. And basically you're going to, in those holes, you've got these little, come up here, sort of like rib nuts. I'm not sure really what these are called, but they have the nut inside, and these you essentially you just push these up and they click in. And then once those are in place, then what appears to be stainless, you'll bolt these up. Now, it didn't recommend anything about any kind of Loctite, and I decided, you know what, better be safe than sorry. So pick your brand. I've got Loctite, I've got Permatex, either one. I'm going to use the blue. It's funny they put these in red here, but it's the blue Loctite. So so use that, and I think there's blue and red. The red's probably permanent. I'm sure you could get it off with enough force, but I'm going to use blue. So on my ProMaster, or also known as the Ducato, I've got the L4 because I've got the 3500 ProMaster. The longest, it's the extended 3500. So what I'm going to be using, as you can see in this diagram here, you've got points D, C, B, and A. So we've got D, we've got C right here. Moving up, we've got B. We will need to pull out this little pin here so I can access the hole. And then A is right here. And we will need to pull out this little pin here so I can access the hole. And then for the fixation points, I'm going to be using 4 and 14, and I'm going to be using A and C. Now at position A, we've got to get this little pin out. Now I've been told several different ways to get this out. The way I've been told that I'm going to try is to put a screw in this little center point, put the screw in, and then pull that down. I tried putting a little screwdriver. I had a little jeweler screwdriver, a really tiny one, and it just didn't really seem to do anything. So hopefully this will work. I just put a drywall screw through the little plastic pin here in the middle. I didn't pre-drill, I just put the tip on. I've got a fine tooth drywall screw, a 1-inch, and I put that in there. So now I'm gonna see if I can pull that out, and I'll need 2 hands. And so far what I've had to do, so I had a pair of little linesman pliers that I put on the head of the screw here and started pulling on it, and it didn't move. So then I just started jiggle, 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 and as you can see, my lighting is good. That little pin, and now I'm
out of focus, that little pin is now out about 1/4 of an inch, so it's almost probably ready to come out. So it is solid on the side, so there's not even a spot where a screwdriver could even grab it to pull it down. So put in a screw and then pull that pin down.
Alright, so I jiggled it and got it all the way out, and actually it was a lot longer than I expected. So when I originally was pulling it out, I had it about maybe 1/4 of an inch. This entire piece here is about 1 inch to 1.25 inches long, or 26 millimeters, I guess, if you want to put it in metric. And then what that goes into is this piece here, and this is actually a pretty good size little nub. This holds the heat shield on, so that fit in here. When that gets pushed up, those little tabs push out and secure it through the metal. Very similar to most cars now, how they hold practically almost the whole car together with these things. So I got that out, so I'll be able to mount the bracket now. Alright, so I've mounted the little push pins, whatever you want to call them, that secure the nut up inside the chassis. And before I forget, I want to tell everybody, if you are doing this kit, you will need a 1/2 inch drill bit, or 13 millimeters, because the holes in the van where the little pieces push up into are a little too small. So you will have to drill it out to a 13 millimeter. I'm sorry, a 1/2 inch, yeah, 13 millimeter 1/2 inch drill bit. And as I got the one here on the back, and I'm gonna see, this is the back of the van, that's the rear axle. So at mounting C and also at mounting A, everything, you know, line up good with the bracket, everything, this channel here. But one thing I noticed was, as I came between A and C, right here where you have the heat shield, you also have another one of those little black push pin retainers. Well, because that was there, this bar wouldn't go in the spot, so I had to actually pull that pin and take that retainer out as well. And then when I mounted the little clip here, what I did was I came underneath the shield and pushed that little, I don't know what you call the little socket piece, and then I put that on the back side of the, you know, the heat shield. So now I'm just going to tighten these down, and then we'll be mounting up the step. Pretty simple, actually. Okay, so I got the mounting bar mounted under the van, this one right here, and I will tell you, these little clips, I don't know if I'd call them a piece of junk, but they are very finicky. I had one that started pulling funny and didn't mount right, so I had to pull it out, re-straighten the tab. So you'll likely probably have one that works well and then one that won't. That's just the way things are. Nothing's ever easy, right? So I did get this mounted. I'm not really quite convinced with the torque I've got on it, if they really are biting good into the frame. I'll want to keep an eye on it and maybe secure it with some other kind of system. I mean, this really, it's only mounted on with this one bar here, and then the front of the step right here and right here just mounts up to the threshold where the panels are glued or welded together on the van at the threshold. So the front's really where most of the weight is, so maybe these back pieces right here really don't take a lot of strength, but you know, when you step on it and it's pushed out, it's actually going to cantilever, so it's going to actually push up, not down. So maybe my fears are just a little overboard, but hey, I don't want to step on a step and have it break off or fall off while I'm driving down the road at 60 miles an hour, so that would not be good. Lots of sparks, folks. So next thing we're going to do is, we got step right here. So this is the largest one. This is 700 millimeter, and these right here are going to bolt up to this little threshold right here. Not sure if you can see my hand. Let me get, there we go. So I'll drill holes right through here, and then these simply are going to just tilt up, and then they're going to go into that bracket right there, and they're just going to slide up. So next thing I'll do is go ahead and get that slid into position, and then I will come back.
So that actually was much easier than I expected. So if you're going to be mounting the same one, what I would do first, so this is the one on the left towards the rear of the van. What you'd want to do is start off with this bracket up towards the front here. Get the first one started right here. Get it started and it'll be turned, I guess, sideways. Get that one started and then start sliding that back, because in the diagram they had basically this whole step going all the way up by the muffler, which is not going to fit. So turn the step this way, get it started, come back, and then as you get it into the groove, then you'll turn the step so that this one's now lining up with that, I guess parallel, whatever you want to call it. And then I just was underneath it. The step doesn't, it's maybe 20 pounds, maybe 30 pounds. Not crazy heavy, but I was just underneath it. Luckily I fit. And turn the step sideways, and then just with my finger, kind of just feeling it because I couldn't see it. Just got that one bolt up into the slot. It's like a T-slot groove, and then turned it and then slid it back into position. So next we'll just secure it to the front. All right, so we are now facing the step. So all we'll essentially have to do is just pull this up, get this out to here, get your final alignment where you want the step in relation to the opening of the door, and then secure it from underneath so you can drill your holes, and then pre-drill your holes, and then tighten everything up. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. So once you have the back two bolts and the track loose, you flip up the step here, put a little box maybe underneath it to secure it. And then what you want to do is this bracket here will actually be on the outside. You'll use that to mark your holes for your 3 holes on each bracket. The directions call for a 4mm, which is a 5/32 drill bit. And then you'll finish it off with a 15/64. Depending on the sharpness of your drill bits, you may need to step up in between those ranges just to make drilling through this metal. This metal is actually a little bit thicker than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be really thin, but pretty durable. So pre-mark the holes with the drill bit, then move this out of the way, put a little magnet to catch all the metal bits, and then drill through with the 4mm or the 5/32, I should say. And then once that was pre-drilled out, these 3 holes, then you come back with a 6mm drill bit or a 15/64, and then finish that out and get those 3 drilled out. You don't drill out the bracket. Leave the bracket with the holes already in it. And then once you've got all your holes drilled here and at the other bracket right here, then go ahead and secure it in place. There's a little plastic clip that goes between the bracket and the metal of the frame here, and then just put in these stainless steel screws. You'll need a Torx 25 bit to do that, and tighten those down good, and then once that's tightened down, come back to the back corner bolts at the step and then secure those down. There's not a torque setting mentioned, but just kind of use your own feel. So we are mounted. The only thing left I've got to do is to mount either the standard trim that comes with it or the LED trim, which I actually purchased. So I'll get that done next. And then the final wiring, as you see the loom here, the wiring I'm going to wire up later once I have my house batteries. I'm not going to run it off the starter battery. Don't want to run that down. So I may do a little test with it. And then I also have the control module, which I'll be wiring up all those bits and pieces. So I'll be finishing that up next. Maybe a couple of days. We're about to get some really nasty weather here, so today was beautiful, but we'll finish up wiring next. In our next video, I'll discuss how we wire the Thule motorized step, the control module, the functional switches installed to control the LED light strip, and lockout features. Thanks for staying to the end of this video. The tools needed for this installation is a drill
with a 5/32 and a 15/64 inch drill bit, along with an impact drill that has a Torx 25 bit, a 10mm socket or wrench. Don't forget to spray and drill any holes with paint and primer. Optionally, you can use riv nuts or plus nuts instead of the jack nuts. Just make sure you have the installation tool. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, as it lets us know if it was helpful. Also, please comment below if you have any questions about this installation. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends about our channel. Follow us along our journey on Facebook or Instagram using Corndog Caravan.